Hi guys, good evening, and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host, Eddie, and in tonight's video, I'll be discussing what I thought of the latest, and once again, one of the nastiest episodes we have ever seen so far of House of the Dragon. Well, I mean, this was gross, but for different reasons, and I'll go into that in a minute. So basically, if you're not caught up on House of the Dragon, like I previously was until tonight, I didn't have a chance to watch yesterday, so I finally caught up today. Don't keep watching or listening to this video, as I will be discussing spoilers, plot details, and all that nasty goodiness that we have come to expect from a franchise like this. But seriously, if you're not caught up, don't keep watching or listening to this video. Okay, so that being said, you have been warned. Let's dive right back into it. Ew. Ugh. I get that the Targaryens once intermarried and practiced incest, unfortunately, but just because they used to do it doesn't mean they have to do it anymore. Heck. Thankfully, it didn't go that far, although I was bracing myself because as it was getting hot and heavy between Rhaenyra and Daemon, I'm like, ugh. This is how my face looked that entire scene. I was like, ugh, you know, this is how my face looked. And then when he suddenly realized that even as bad as he is, even he could not bring himself to do it, I was like, oh, thank God, okay. But obviously that left the door wide open for Sir Criston, her protector, which of course was not a surprise at all. It was only a matter of time before these two got together, although it could serve as a consequence to both of them. But it's funny, their little hookup was completely overlooked by the potential scandal of two Targaryens getting it on, thanks to the spy of Hightower, the King's Hand, and word quickly getting around the Red Keep about Daemon and Rhaenyra. But thankfully it seemed to stay within the inner royal circle, and it hasn't reached the ears of the kingdom, or King's Landing at least. And I do love how the king acknowledges and agrees. This was probably one of my favorite parts in this episode. I loved how Rhaenyra completely points out the super hypocritical patriarchy that if she were a man and was doing this shit, or at least not the possible incest part, but like just, you know, flaunting his shit all over town and just knocking up whores left and right and being with multiple sexual partners, nobody would bat an eye, because he's a man and men are allowed to be more sexually expressive than women are in this day and age. But of course, because she's a woman, she's frowned upon. She gets a lot of looks of disapproval. She's considered a whore and whatnot. And of course, you know, she's the black sheep of the family. But I like how the king agrees with and acknowledges to her that, yeah, you're right. If you were a man, if you were a boy, things would be different. You're right. But that's not how things are, because you are a woman. So I like how he acknowledges and agrees with her that the patriarchy is super hypocritical in King's Landing, but at the same time says there's nothing we can do about it because you are indeed a woman. You are a princess, so you've got to abide by these rules, as unfair as they may be. That was probably one of my favorite parts of this episode, because the stuff between her and Daemon was nasty and uncomfortable, and the scenes between her and Criston were far more preferable and, you know, frankly, steamier, because it's not two relatives getting it on, it's two unrelated people, so that's fine. But I also loved how she finally agrees to the arranged marriage that he proposes, because it would unite the two of the strongest houses in the kingdom. But she also says, fine, I'll go along and get hitched to this guy's son, but you got to do what you got to do regarding the hand. And sure enough, the king goes through with it and realizes the hand cannot be trusted. He's put his own self-interest, his own family above the crown, wants his grandson to be king. And the king realizes, you know what, you've done a lot for me, but I can't have you around no more. Yoink, takes away the pin of the hand of the king, and that's that. Of course, he's probably not going to go quietly or softly, and will be back in a very loud, very angry way. And then Daemon, you know, just trying to get at his brother by hooking up with his niece was not only nasty, but it just goes to show you that Daemon obviously hadn't changed from overthrowing the crab feeder and presenting the so-called victory to his brother in the opening of the episode, where he's still just the scumbag that he is and probably always will be. However, it is worth noting he did stop himself from actually doing the deed with Rhaenyra. Now, was it because his conscience actually kicked in and realized even he couldn't do it because even he isn't that wicked? Or was it something else? Like he saw that she was enjoying it and that took away his pleasure of it because he didn't want her to enjoy it for whatever reason because he needs to be in control? Who knows? But I'm just, whatever the reason, I'm just glad they didn't actually go through with it. I mean, the neck kissing and the making out was bad enough. You know, it was getting hot and heavy there for a while, but thank God they actually didn't do the do. Ugh. But great episode, really great episode overall. You know, there were very few dragons in it, and there wasn't a whole lot of excitement or action. Well, there was a different kind of action. But at the same time, the story kept you engaged and hooked from beginning to end because you're like, what's going to happen now? Oh my God, that happened. So what's going to happen next? You know, and that's what it did. So, oh, and I love the further teases to Jon Snow and the Song of Ice and Fire that's written in the blade that the king presented to her. So that was cool too. So overall, great episode. I think we're almost halfway through the first season already, which is hard to believe, but we're getting there. So I hope you guys like this episode as much as I did. What did you think of it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings on it. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome rest of your night. House of the Dragon drops new episodes every Sunday on HBO Max. Check it out if you're a Game of Thrones fan or were a Game of Thrones fan. It's right up your alley. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks for watching. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.